trying to zoom in here and focus on the chess. Now you're taking images of me here.
Always.
Oh,
we missed the mate on E8. Oh man, that's a painful way. In fairness, the French has won a game in this match it did deserve. I don't think that loss was necessarily because of the French, but the blunder on E8. But okay, right? You play with the bull, you get the fire, or something like that. Who's ready for the day to continue? I know that our players are. Let's get the match started as soon as we can. We see with us here, patiently waiting as the last match went all the way to the brink, and with it some transitional difficulties. But Grandmaster Robert Hess, I know it's going to be hard to think that this next match could top that one, but either way, I'm ready for a few more hours of awesome chess, and the games have begun.
Yeah, I don't know if this match can possibly top the match we just saw, especially with Georg Meier's style. And that's no offense meant towards him. He's just so technical. It's very impressive, but it just takes you a lot of time to process the nuances of his game. And Leinier Dominguez, for those of you who may not be so familiar with the former World Blitz champion, has kind of a similar style, honestly. He likes to, with white, get some quiet positions and slowly outmaneuver and outplay his opponent. So I think we're going to see much more in that style of chess this time around. But these are two incredible players. I would say the two strongest players in this field. I would honestly consider them 1 and 2, with Hammer and Hansen being 3 and 4. But this is how their blitz ratings on Chess.com panned out. And with the white pieces, you can always count on Meier to play some sort of Catalan. I mean, that's his bread and butter.
As our boy John Urschel would know, he's sitting there just salivating right now as he watches Meier play the Catalan.
I mean, how could he not? You know, the way Meier plays it as well is just so smooth, just so technical, so sound, and never really getting in much danger. And in this current position, where black has sacrificed a pawn, opposite color bishops, black is clearly far ahead in development, and the bishop on h3 can seem quite menacing. White's idea is to parry off black's attacking threats, develop the pieces, and then say, you know what? I am up a pawn, and make use of it in the long term. So from black's point of view, making a move like queen h5 here seems pretty standard. The idea is to eventually follow it up with a move like knight g4. The problem is once you put your queen on h5 and then play knight g4, white will always have to move f3 to kick the knight away. So you have to time it very well. It looks like Meier is sitting in for quite a big think here. A bit surprising. Plays queen d5, forcing f3 now. And is he just going to play rook f to e8? Just continue the initiative? It makes some sense here.
Sorry, I was listening to you. If you're actually asking me, I assume most questions you ask me are rhetorical, so forgive me for blacking out.
Don't worry. In your silence, I went to a different tab and saw that Argentina won their matchup against Nigeria and Croatia beat Iceland. So my roommate, who has actually went to the game, I know I always talk about my Argentine roommate.
I was going to say, what country is your roommate from?
He is from Argentina. He was at the game, and I have some Snapchats from him, and they're probably him just exuberant at the fact that Argentina just won. So anyway, rook f8 was indeed played. Meier, who plays with the German flag from the Deutschland. His team lost to Mexico in the first game.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you have to bring that up? Thankfully, Georg is probably not listening, but they were most people's pick to win it all, so including mine.
Well, they did win the second game. He plays for Sweden, right? He plays for the Stockholm Snowballs, and so Sweden had the unfortunate defeat to Germany at the end of that last match.
Rooting against yourself.
It all kind of...
Man, I'm going to be honest. I think me, you, and a lot of the fans who've been here, we're all kind of suffering from a bit of an adrenaline drop from that last match. I mean, seriously, that was... If you just joined us, Grandmaster Jon Ludwig Hammer eliminates Eric Hansen and moves on to the finals in comeback style. Just absolutely bananas. So I'm sure there'll be plenty of opportunities to see the replay and clips and all that stuff. But I'm just a little bit. This is like 5-minute chess. I feel like I don't even know what this is anymore.
Yeah, it's too slow.
Yeah,
And
crazy.
black is counting on compensation still in the form of an initiative and maybe an attack. The move knight e4 was sort of hanging in the air for black at some points, but never quite pans out a sacrifice. So queen a6 is just staring down at the pawn e2. If you play e4, then rook d3 comes, then I take on f3, and black is happy. Um, what else can you do in the interim? You can play maybe knight b4. Oh, then queen b6 check might be a bit of a nuisance. So he plays bishop e3, covering the e2 square, but knight d5, something like that looks decent. Knight g4 is also playable here. And the point is that knight g4, if you take f takes g4, I have queen b7, and I'm delivering mate on g2. So, knight d5 is the more direct path. Knight g4 is also a possibility. So I don't see what's wrong with knight d5. And he plays it.
He goes for it, and he's going to get compensation.
You take on e3, knight takes e3, play rook to d2, and
I mean, White's going to play king f2 there probably and give up the b pawn. But the one thing you have to worry about if you're black, Robert, is that bishop on h3 getting trapped.
That's true.
There may be ideas of g4 in some positions, and that bishop runs out of squares.
Yeah, it's quite thematic actually to play g4 and trap that piece. So, you need to figure out a way to keep annoying this queen on c5, but you just have to spend time doing so. Like rook e6 to c6 takes 2 full moves.
Well, Leinier has leaned in, so we're getting a deep look into those eyes, whether we wanted to or not, right? And Georg pulling the Georg statue, as they call it. I remember this when he played Karyakin. Just doesn't move a lot or show a lot of emotion, contributing to the belief that he may indeed be part robot, cyborg. There he goes. He leans in a little bit.
He's moving quite quickly as well. It's impressive opening game here for Meier.
Yeah, he's up almost 2 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, and he was watching that match. He was commenting on the match in the chats. So he was all over the action earlier today.
For those who don't know, we've had all 4 of the players in today's event. No longer Eric Hansen with us, no longer, but in the tool we use here, they've been with us the whole time, pretty much just listening to our commentary, watching the last match, and it's getting pretty late for Georg. So I don't feel too bad for him, given that he's won a number of Arena Kings when it's gone on like 2 a.m. where he lives. But if he makes it to the finals against Hammer, I guess he and Jun Ludwig will both be playing well into the night there, given that I believe Hammer's playing from Oslo and Georg is in Sweden, as you said. So,
yeah, I have very little sympathy for Georg if that were the case. He'll be very happy to have a chance to,
you
once
say
he
that just
qualifies.
because he's destroyed your face so many times.
He has really just crushed me. Oh, I was saving these comments for this match. So I believe Georg just absolutely dominates me on Chess.com. I mean, not even speaking of
somebody
adoption.
please look up the lifetime matchup record between Hess and Georg on Chess.com. It's pretty easy if you just go to the profile and check on stats. Let's see what those numbers are. I'll look for maybe ChessBake and grab that for us.
It's definitely awful, and it's entirely in his favor. I think with Dominguez, I've actually done quite decently. I know some Title Tuesdays, I've beaten him a couple times. So, he's a very strong player. And just because I've beaten him in a handful of games doesn't mean anything. I'm not trying to toot my own horn. But what I was going to say is Dominguez was just officially announced as the wild card for the St. Louis Rapid and Blitz. So he once again will be playing in that prestigious event with the likes of Nakamura, Aronian, Caruana, MVL, Swazi So, etc. So he, he's well versed in speed chess. He will continue getting his chances here in the Speed Chess Championship qualifier, and then he will take his talents to St. Louis and compete in the St. Louis Rapid and Blitz. So
ChessBay mad at me. It was just a suggestion, given it's more out of respect because I know how capable you are of doing everything on the planet, a million things at once. But you do have plenty on your plate, and we appreciate your moderating, as well as everybody behind the scenes helping make this event possible. But we will try to find those stats. Looks like Move by Move just linked us to something. We'll see if we can get it. But Either way, we get the point. Georg Meier, very strong, someone you struggle against.
Someone just linked it in here, and there's so many red minus marks for me. Oh my gosh. Can't even look. It's blinding me.
Oh, man.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
No.
He's worked his way out of what we called as a lot of compensation for black with pressure on the e-file. He seems to have maneuvered perfectly up 30 seconds on the clock, and I think c7 will be falling any minute.
Yeah. So knight g4 played. Obviously can't take the knight because queen g2 is mate. But if you just ignore it, it's not like black has, it's not like black has any tremendous threat. Of course, if you take on c7 now, then queen takes c7, rook takes c7, knight f2, and the d4 knight is hanging. So you want to be a little bit careful here. I wonder what he's thinking about. Rook to c4 is a possibility. Just defending that knight on d4. Yeah, white is much better. Whoa, what's going on with the clock situation, though? Georg down under 20 seconds. I didn't expect that to happen.
Yeah. He spent a lot of time on that knight g4 move due to the fact that, well, state the obvious, the pawn is pinned, everybody, because of mate on g2, but...
have no fear. Georg is here. Queen takes a7.
He just takes it. Who's going to make the first Boy George reference of the day? Just happened.
I was waiting for it to
Boy Georg. Here comes. Oh, I thought he had g4 there. What we talked about, trapping the bishop on h3. I think he did have g4.
So a2 falls.
For a game that has been all positional struggle, all Catalan technique, this is probably going to end in a massive time scramble.
Rook dd2. You got to bring the second rook to this. Yeah, why didn't he bring rook dd2? That was clearly better.
I think Georg just missed his chance to get g4 earlier. But all right.
Knight d3 check. Oh, it doesn't
winning
work.
the exchange. Actually winning a whole rook. No, king e3.
No, king e3.
Wow. Got a little bit too excited there.
Yeah, so Georg kind of set him up for failure. So bishop needs to come to the b5 diagonal. What? He flagged?
What in the world?
Oh my gosh!
I think Sebastian just lost his focus on the clock. Yeah.
Yeah, he's so look at it. He's so close to his computer that he couldn't see the time. I mean,
Crazy.
if you take a peek at his camera here, he's like his face is right against it.
Yeah. Well, I think the players are waiting for the next round to start, forgetting that they are supposed to rematch each other.
No, they're playing.
Oh, they are. I am not following them as closely as I should be. There you go. All right, well, wow. All right, yes, again, some questions in the chat for those late joiners. Grandmaster Jon Ludwig Hammer moved on in epic fashion. It was an amazing match. Could have gone either way, and both players deserve a huge round of applause for their chess. But Jon Ludwig Hammer will be waiting the winner of the match you're watching right now that has just gotten underway. So don't go anywhere. And here we go. Meier strikes first. Now he's on the worst side of a French, but that's how everybody feels who plays the French, let's be honest. Always worse.
What is going on here? So white's sacrificing the d pawn, saying if queen takes d4, I'll just play queen e2, throw in a quick rook d1, e6 is weak, I'll castle. You have no development for black. Yeah, it looks pretty good for white. And this is one of those, like, I mean, look at Dominguez spent 0 seconds to get here. Meier, on the other hand, has spent almost a minute. Clearly, Dominguez in his wheelhouse here, his preparation, and Meier does not seem to be so confident and comfortable right now. So kind of role reversal from the first game. Okay, I'm trying to eat a chocolate chip cookie, but I'll talk while doing that. So you take your break. I'll just talk about chess. Yeah, in this line here, the big issue for black is now that you've committed your pawn to f6, which you did to loosen the protection of the d4 pawn, as well as allow your bishop on f8 to develop. Now, note that when the bishop was on e5, you couldn't move the bishop on f8 because g7 was always hanging. But here, you see that white has sacrificed a pawn. Black's extra pawn is on d4, but it's hard to keep that pawn protected because if you ever make a move like e5, white will go f4 to break the pawn chain. And here, look at white's already threatening this pawn on e6. And if you play e5, you can't castle kingside because the bishop on c4 cuts off the king's access towards the g8 square. And I really like white's position here. I think it's not so easy to play for black. He didn't castling. played rook e4. He could have taken on e6, but if he took on e6, he would have allowed bishop e6, bishop takes back on e6, rook e6, and then a move like queen to d7, followed by rook to d8, solidifying the protection of the d4 pawn and saying, you know what, I'm maybe a little worse in some variations, but it's not so bad. Here, on the other hand, the rook will come capture on d4, and there's a really ugly French bishop. The bishop on c8 has a difficult time getting out because you can't really go b6, bishop b7 with the rook and queen on the same line. The rook will come to d7 and occupy the d file. If black chooses to go for e5, then this bishop on c4 is much more powerful than it was a second ago. So white's plan is actually quite simple here. So he went rook d2. He'll play queen somewhere, h5, e2, queen f3 maybe. Yep, there's queen f3 because it attacks the bishop. He'll play rook a to d1, control the d file, and just say, I'm slightly better, nothing to worry about here. So great decision making by Dominguez, up 2.5 minutes. This is unbelievable. And with that clock management and better position, Dominguez is just really in charge here. So I think he's an even up the score. It's a very tough position for black, and the time management doesn't help his chances either. Really want to take the last bite out of this chocolate chip cookie, but since I'm all by my lonesome, I have to continue talking. And as my mom taught me, it's not polite to talk with food in your mouth, so I won't do it. Note that rook d8 is possible here. Rook a to d8, because if rook a to d8, rook takes d8, rook takes d8, rook takes d8, queen takes d8, queen takes b7, queen d1 check, queen h5 check is a perpetual. So if I'm Dominguez, he started with king h2, which I think is a very smart move. Now he's starting to trade everything on the d8 square and play queen takes b7. And firm control over the d file, still up on the clock. Now you can play queen back to d1, you can play queen to d5. Both are very strong moves. And just totally control the d file. So queen d5 played. So bishop f7 here, I think he'll just play queen d7, trade queens in the d7 square, trade bishops. So white has control of the 7th rank, which is of the utmost importance. Now after h5, queen d7 is still possible. He played it. Rook c8 is met by bishop e6. No, rook c8, bishop e6, and I take on d7, and the c2 pawn is hanging. So c3 first. He plays it. And not great. Not great at all. Impala 10, Robert, who are you rooting for in the World Cup? I am rooting for nobody in particular. Obviously I'd be rooting for the U.S. if they were playing. I'm sort of a fan of underdogs in general. I have not been impressed at all by Argentina. So their win today does get them through, but I have not been impressed by their play whatsoever. Let's see, who else? Croatia has been decent. I mean, they've won all 3 matches. Hard to complain if you're the Croatians. And who else? Who could I be rooting for? Not really rooting for Spain. I don't know. The teams that I might root for don't really have a good shot at winning. I guess I like Belgium. I like Hazard. So that's a possibility. Hey, Danny, are you back yet? I'm just now talking about the World Cup. So I'm completely off topic. All right, this game is still Dominguez pressing along. Azat Mukhanov, I couldn't see the game because I was doing commentary here, so I couldn't tell you who should have won that game or not. But Nigeria is a fun team. And Nigeria's goals they allowed against Croatia were just totally self-inflicted. So that was unfortunate for them. All right, so here we go. Dominguez closing up any pass pawn opportunities for Meier. So he can just start moving his king in more, king to e3. Okay, plays b4 first. Is he going to go take, put b5, bishop c6, and rook takes b6? Possibly. So if he takes on f5, what's the deal there? Gf5, if king f5, I don't see a follow-up. So it's king e3. Just saying if you go f4 check, no pass pawn. Dominguez continuing to press forward. So he's going to play b5, bishop c6. Okay.
You're doing great, buddy. I've been back for 30 seconds, but I'm just listening to that sexy voice there.
Thanks. So bishop c6 here looks like the move. Just cutting off the rook's protection of the b6 square. If bishop c6, rook d4, then bishop back to d5 looks tempting. Okay, he wants to put his rook on c6, I guess. Now he doesn't. But bishop e4 is a possibility. Bishop e4, the idea is if rook d4, I go c5, followed by b6, followed by b7. Looks pretty tempting.
Huge time advantage this game.
Oh, Dominguez has been playing quickly all game. If you look at the clock on the live board, he spent a total of like a minute in the last 5 moves. Otherwise, he was just cruising.
Yeah. And likely going to convert too. I mean, although, okay. Does black really have time to go get the G pawn here and get back in time to cover the B pawn? Seems so.
Oh, yeah, now he's just doing this. That pawn just pushing itself.
Push him, baby.
Thanks, Yasser.
B7.
Next move, rook c8.
Yep. Rook c8, everybody. Guarding b8. The bishop can't take it because you capture with promotion. So unless Meier finds some sort of swindle, Sebastian will be bringing the match even. And I keep calling him Sebastian just because it's his username. But we asked, for those of you who don't know, Sebastian is the name of Leinier's son. So
rook c6
rook
check.
c6 is game over. Georg nods, looks over at the camera, knows it's over, throws in the towel, and takes a look into the sky to try to do the mental math in his head about where that one went wrong. Back to the Catalan. I don't think Georg is, ever coming to the table with some hey, I'm gonna mix it up today. You know what feels good today? Playing e4. I don't think that ever crosses Georg's mind.
Yeah, something would have to be up if he's playing e4.
Yeah.
So this again, I feel like we've seen this one before. And again, the queen trade is being offered. And so unless Dominguez has come up with something in the last 15 minutes on how to improve his opening from game 1, he will just be down a pawn and fighting for
a draw, and one that he was not able to get in game 1. Have we recovered yet? About 2,000 with us. We lost about 1,000 viewers that seem to have gone down with the Chess Bra ship. I'm sure they'll come back once they kind of get over it.
Yeah, and everyone needs to do work every now and then and take a break and a breather. And there still is a final match to be played later, so maybe some people are waiting to tune back in. But this position, what should black do?
Sorry for the bad news there, Snatch Pato.
What's the move here? I don't know. I'm not exactly sure how concrete the compensation will be in certain lines. So, now white is threatening to make a move like bishop g5. The bishop e3, bishop f2 maneuver looked perfectly playable. Rook d6 might be an option. The idea is if you could play bishop e3, I'll play rook c6 and take your knight on c2, which releases the defense of the e3 bishop. So rook d6 might be an option here. And he played queen a6 again.
Ruslan Chess in the chat. That's a Grandmaster and another former world champion, Ruslan Ponomarev, for those who don't know. That is the Ruslan Ponomarev, so not an imposter. But he's commenting, Robert, on move 19, instead of queen to b7, why black couldn't play knight e4. And if
That's what I was wondering as well.
Queen takes, we have this mate on g2, and there's no way to block it, everybody, since trading here will just lose the exchange. So Ruslan, curious why Dominguez Perez doesn't go for that tactic, just like you are.
Yeah, I mean, the knight e4 stuff was always in the cards, but
Yep.
maybe White could have just moved the queen away and ignored it. But yeah, it's going to have to be played sooner or later.
That's pretty exciting, Snatch Pato. Pato, how do I pronounce that? Snatch Pato? Snatch Pato, whatever you're into, since you're giving me full control of one of your openings. Let me know what your current repertoire is, and I'll pick something out of the sorting hat.
Sorting hat.
Pato, got it. Pato, like Pato.
I think he's saying pay two.
Pay two?
Yeah.
Oh, pay two. Got it.
Like write him a check.
Oh yeah, I can do that. For the amount of times I've mispronounced your name, I probably owe you.
No, it's probably paid two.
Snatch, pay two.
There's some funny comments here.
She sure did. Snatch. Can I just call you Snatch?
I don't know.
I don't know why that's. I mean, there's a movie Snatch, one of my favorites.
It is a good movie.
It's a great movie.
That's like
one of Brad Pitt's most underrated.
I was gonna say that's some vintage Brad Pitt right there. It's also really vintage Jason Statham.
I think you've told me that before, Chespe. And his name is Mark. Am I allowed to call him Mark? Can I call you Daryl? How about I call you Daryl? Snatch.
Can you call him? God damn.
Can I call you Pedro? I'm gonna call you Pedro. I'm gonna call you Pedro, Snatch.
I don't want to be a buzzkill here, but this match is not leaving me as excited as the earlier match.
Well, I mean, we just got off of a huge high, a back and forth bullet affair with. That was one of the most exciting matches we've ever called, and you and I have been a part of some epic ones. I mean, I don't know that it was the best, but it was one of the best.
Yeah, the Wesley So Anish Giri one was really epic. So it's hard. That one's hard to top, especially with the quality of players and the games. But yeah, what we just saw was, think about it. Hammer was down 10-8 and won 3 straight games to
win the match.
Take the match. Just
crazy. There's no way to look at it. Besides, it's always two things. It was both a choke by Eric and a great comeback by Hammer. And not because we use the term choke and sounds insulting. Not necessarily. It was Eric's own words, but it's just that you can't be up 2 games and all you need is a draw and not win the match, right? And at the same time, Hammer gets full credit for not losing his cool and just throwing in the towel. So, again, if anybody missed that match, definitely worth watching the full video replay or at least jumping to the last 20 minutes or so.
Danny, is your move G4 good here?
I've been wanting G4 since the beginning. The beginning of time.
Too bad, is what Georg said. G4 is too risky a move for Georg to play.
Georg doesn't, he doesn't want it. I'd be curious if they get this again, if Ruslan's knight to e4 call comes back, because clearly a player of Dominguez Perez's caliber, Robert, wouldn't play this opening if he didn't feel like black should be okay. But if he's getting, sort of ground down in the same way twice, he needs to look for some way to mix it up, right? Yep. So if he gets another chance, maybe he won't miss his opportunity. But right now, I mean, can't Black just trade? I mean, is this really something with serious losing chances? I guess if you trade on d3, the problem is you can't just go gobbling b2 willy-nilly because of g4. But maybe you can, because if g4, you're always meeting it with h5, and you can pry open the diagonal, right? So I think that Black is doing okay here. Maybe now he voluntarily brings the bishop back to e6. No.
I think he's just claiming that White's extra pawn is not a pass pawn by any means.
Yeah.
So the opposite color bishop should just be enough to hold.
Plus, keeping the bishop on h3 always keeps the outside ideas of a mating net against the king. So makes sense to play h5 rather than bring the bishop back. And maybe it'll be Georg who needs to rethink things. I feel like, tell me if you feel like I'm getting the vibe right. I feel like Dominguez Perez is somebody who would have prepared for this match, like seriously. One, probably knowing that he's going to get Georg, and, I think most people feel like Meier is the favorite overall. And also, he just seems like the kind of guy who really, really wants this opportunity. What do you think?
The favorite overall of all these 4 players?
I would say that Meier is the favorite overall in the knockout.
Nah, Dominguez is my guy still.
Really?
Yeah, I just think that Dominguez is by far the strongest classical chess player and over-the-board blitz player, and maybe we haven't seen enough of him. I think that 1 second increment, especially when it comes down to bullet, which is the only place I'd be worried about Dominguez.
Yeah.
I think that 1 second increment is enough. His natural chess strength is enough for him to overcome any inexperience he may have on the online server.
Got it.
So,
interesting. You're
Dominguez is
surprising me with that pick.
Well, look at this position. He's up a pawn with Black. Once he righted the ship here. First game, he struggled a little bit. He made some inaccuracies. Now he's just like, okay, you did your same Catalan. I'm just going to, I have a high-level preparation. I mean, it's no surprise that Dominguez has worked with some very, very, very strong chess players as
the best in the world. He's been seconds to he's been one of the best players in the world, right? I mean, he's I guess I look at Meier's experience on the Chess.com server, and he's also played in this format. Last year he played in Karyakin, albeit he lost, of course. But part of me gives the nod to Meier because of that. But certainly right now you're right. And the question I asked, how well prepared would Dominguez Perez be? You agree that he's the kind of guy that would prepare for this match and actually have something cooked up, especially because Meier is a pretty predictable cat, right? He's going to play the Catalan come hell or high water. So if you work out something as Black against the Catalan, Dominguez is probably going to get something he prepared at least a few times in the match.
Yeah, and this is not private information. It was reported actually on Chess.com as well that Dominguez worked with Caruana before the candidates. So, if you're one of the seconds to a player who's about to play in the candidates, or you helped them in the training camp, whatever it may be, the exact nature of their working relationship, your openings, right? You clearly have great ideas that have inspired the number 2 player in the world to work with you. So Dominguez, in his own right, before any, becoming a trainer or becoming any of that, he is an amazing player. And especially in light of that, I'm just bishop c4 to d5 now is one possibility.
The bishop does everything from here. Guards c6, guards f7, pokes at the king on the light squares.
And the king's going to f5 to g4 to f3 and going to help try to give a checkmate.
Probably you can just sacrifice this g7 pawn even if you're not taking a5. If this king gets in fast enough, the mating net is real. Item 9 exists, man. The mating net is real. It's gonna. Now he's just debating. Can I go take this guy?
I think he's going to play rook a4. Yep, there it is.
And then he just needs to, I think now just run in. Give g7. Come into g4.
Yeah, the thing is, if you take g7, I take a5 at the very least, right?
Yeah, I'm surprised, other than the fact that he's just kind of sitting on the position, right? Meier only has 15 seconds. He's just, calm down, right? Let's poke and prod a little bit further before we go for a forcing line while my opponent scrambles under time pressure.
Yep. What's he doing? He's just moving around.
Just moving around. Reminder to all 2,000 of you with us here, Speed Chess Championship Knockout Qualifier, the prize fund above. If you're into that kind of thing, feel free to donate. Increase the cash going into the pockets of these great players today for all their hard work. It all goes directly to them. And I'm excited to have you here. We're in a really calm. I feel like we're commentating on golf right now. We're really calm right now, because we're just a little tired from that Hammer Hansen ordeal. So
a little tired, but also just the action has not really heated up yet here. So there's a draw by repetition. Dominguez with the black pieces, never in any danger whatsoever.
Yep.
Showing his class. Now with the white pieces, let's see if Georg can find a way to neutralize the opening advantage. Because last time it did not go well for Georg, that's for sure.
All right, well, tied match. This is the third game already. I feel like this match is moving faster than the Hammer Hansen match did. Am I correct on that, or am I just nuts?
I think you're right. Not said frequently by me, but I think you are correct.
They're already in game 4. Remember, the difference in the format here, everybody, is they will play 5 games of 5-minute, 5 games of 3-minute, and then 10 of bullet. Or they'll play the match until somebody reaches 10.5 points in a clear way that clinches a victory. So, feels like the tempo is moving more quickly here.
Yeah, Meier's just spent half a minute so far, and until this move, Dominguez moving instantly. Look at this king side, right? Knight on f3 and on f4. The knight can come to h5 at some moments, a poke and prod. The pawn on a4 is allowing black to eventually play knight a5 into b3, or just to further clamp down on the queen side. The problem with committing your pawn to a4, though, is that you now never can play b5, b4, because as soon as you play b5, white can always capture on c5 and make sure that you're not playing b4.
Mm-hmm. And you're strapped with 2 weak pawns on the queen side.
Yeah, you're not going to make the queenside break that you need to do to get some real counterplay. And without that counterplay, white has free reign on the king side. Mm-hmm. Because if you look at the king side, there's only a bishop on e7. You can't play f6, which is a typical way to get a break because the e6 pawn is hanging. And so Dominguez developing normally, going to play h4 at some point. Rook h3 can come. Rook can come to g3, for example.
I'm happy
plenty
that
of time.
Likely Anna Chess, who was here in the chat earlier, has gone to bed now, because I'm going to guess if Meier plays a lot of French, that Dominguez is going to bring the pain to the French and their people.
Do you know who brought great pain to the French? Fabiano Caruana. Just look at the U.S. Championship games.
And I wonder who helped him prepare that.
His name is Rustam Kazimjanov.
Well, he's also been working with seconds, right? Like
yeah. So, it's clearly some good ideas against the French. I mean, Dominguez is a boss. Like, there's no one doubting that, or there should be no one doubting that. I don't know. Maybe some people are. What's his rating right now? I'm going to look this up.
Who?
It's probably 2740.
Dominguez?
Yeah. He hasn't played in a while, though.
Yeah. Well, right now, I mean, Meier has just gone into the think tank. He, as you highlighted, the struggles of this pawn chain, right? Can't move the base without e6. Sort of stuck in regards to the counterplay you can create on the queen side. Can't put the rook behind the b pawn to advance because a4 falls. Can't move the b pawn without protection. And you're really in a dicey situation if you don't get Meier's getting counterplay first, as he should, but you want to get counterplay and pressure against the center and the dark squares before you just castle willy-nilly and allow white to really just focus on the attack. So this is the right thing to do. Now you have to deal with the b5, not the b5 pawn, the a4 pawn being under fire.
Danny, can I say something?
Of course you can.
Hopefully Anna Rudolph isn't listening, but
Yep.
I hate the French defense.
Dude, everybody who likes to play good positions hates the French defense.
Okay, just making sure we're on the same page.
We're totally on the same page.
If you play queen b5 here, then white goes knight e2, then plays knight c3 with tempo and wins the a4 pawn. If you play something else, I'm just going to castle. I'm going to, put my pieces on normal squares and then go after your a pawn. It's just, you just have no play on either side of the board. And
well, the thing is, you don't normally face like high-level execution like you will against a guy like Dominguez in the French, but it's against it's a lot like the Dragon Yugoslav attack, and I say that as a former addict. I stand before you and admit, hi, my name's Danny, and I have a problem, because once an addict, always an addict, and I'm a Dragon addict. I have been recovering, But the French doesn't have the same rep, but for the most part, you get a lot of positions that can be really tough when you're playing really well-prepared opponents. So, I love it. I love that I'm just infuriating all the French lovers out there. It's so much fun.
Look at the clock situation. 1:35 and counting down for Georg, and for Mr. Sebastian, as you call him, for Dominguez, he has 4 minutes and 7 seconds. So let's guess who's more comfortable here.
Right.
This seems difficult. Oh, Queen A5 check. Now my bishop can go from D2 to C3.
Well, I'm sticking with my pick. I feel like as the time controls get faster, and Meier continues to be Meier, that he's gonna have his chances in this match. But I agree right now, even with that first game having gone to Georg, that right now I really like the way Dominguez is playing.
Dominguez is gonna crush him in this game.
Yeah, this is gonna be a nightmare ending. Rated R. Hide your kids before this game continues. He's gonna put the bishop on C3, put the knight on F4, and he's just gonna take H5 and crush through.
Yeah, this is awful. For Georg.
Georg. Either call him Boy George or Georg.
I was on making Boy George jokes earlier. Don't steal them from me and pass them off.
Do you really want to hurt me with that accusation?
You're just trying to become a member of the culture club, and I don't like it.
That's right.
Bishop G5, trading away a defender of the Black King. Also, if you'd gone Knight F4, Black would have played H4 and just try to close down the king side for the time being. Bishop G5 opens up possibilities now to play Knight F4, and you're losing your H5 pawn. Feel free. Queen C1 or Queen D2, always an option. Knight F4 just looks yummy.
I just don't know. There's so many good options here for white. Okay, I think Queen D2 coming into G5. Black is going to put the rook on G8. Then you have to watch out for Knight C4.
Yeah, so Knight F4 might be the way to start.
Part of the problem. Knight coming there, but
Knight F4, attacking H5, but more importantly, just developing the piece, putting it on a good square.
Knight F4. There's really no way to guard H5, right? I mean, the other move that may be subtly strong here is a move like Rook C1. Just because it puts the rook on the potentially open file, which at some point may come into play. And the reason I kind of like the queen staying on D1 is you continue to sort of put pressure on A4. But, okay, Queen D2 was the first move I thought of, and after Rook G8, maybe he's just going to go Queen F4, Robert. Just go straight in.
I just saw a comment by my crew. Holy crap, those two are playing some boring chess.
Which chat was that?
It's in the Twitch chat.
Oh, I missed it.
And then Spaceman8916 goes, Hess couldn't sound more bored. And you should see me watching baseball on TV. So
yeah,
I definitely could sound more bored. But speaking of board, B-O-A-R-D board, back to this one. The knight at C4 is now wreaking some havoc on his pawn on B2.
The thing is, the rook defends the knight, though, so it's a bit of a bluff in some way. If white can calculate a line to infiltrate with Queen F6, I don't know whether I'm taking or not, but the knight takes on B2 isn't devastating.
You're correct. So bishop A4.
He just goes for it. What's he saying on knight takes B2? What's he doing? Knight takes B2, D3 is a threat, meaning fork tone.
The rook's on H3. You just pointed it out to me.
Oh, yeah, I was testing you. You passed.
Thank you.
Yep.
So
knight takes. Now, I wonder if you could cackle long, just for kicks and giggles, if it weren't castling through check.
Probably bishop B5 now. The point is that Queen F6 check is always a good idea for white, but you might want to save it up. Whoa.
But yeah, so what's he doing? He's going to check on F6 and then okay, rook B1. No, he wants to use both sides of the board to keep his attack going. Likes himself a b file. How is
Yeah,
that
that's-
not mate after rook b7? Like, how is white not just smashing through? Tell me how.
Looks pretty awesome. Check, king d8.
I mean, there's knight takes f7 check, takes,
Oh,
then
that's-
queen
yeah,
f6. It's just,
That's over.
it's over, yeah. I was wondering why it took him so long. Knight takes, followed by, you can't even play king c8 because of knight d6.
Yeah, this is just bishop f7, queen f7 resigns.
Well, we predicted a smashing in this French for all those who thought we were being too harsh, but we weren't wrong.
Yeah, Dominguez is just...
Shout out to Smarter Chess coming through with the donation, reminding fans that they can do that, bringing the pot up to 16-20. We still have another match to go after this, so you and I think, are naturally pacing ourselves here. This is like kind of the end of the second quarter where halftime's coming anyway, so let's just take a breath.
Are you trying to compare us to the Golden State Warriors and call us a third quarter team?
They did win the championship.
And they are a third quarter team. So, and I like Blobfish says Danny sounds sassy. This is not Danny being sassy. Danny being sassy goes sassy.
Sassy.
There it is. There it
Yes.
is. Bring it out of him.
Honey Badger takes what he wants.
So, this is a different Catalan this time because Georg realizes, hey, that other variation isn't getting me anything because Dominguez knows his stuff.
Let's rethink this scenario.
So now he's trying to play e4. That's, of course, is the idea. If white has another move, that's going to be played. Black can play and did play h6, so let's say it, taken out. The e4 square is under control. But white has gained a tremendous amount of space. That's the good news for Dominguez. For Meier. By playing b4 to b5, he kicks that bishop off the diagonal and then can play e4 himself. Black sometimes, but not in this position, captures on f3. Bishop takes f3, bishop f3, and goes c6 to close the diagonal. The reason why I say not in this position is because white immediately is ready to play pawn to b5 and then reopen this diagonal for the light square bishop. So it'd probably be not wise to do that. So he plays bishop d5 first. The b pawn would have been hanging if the queen moved anywhere. So he trades on d5, and now he's playing opposite colored bishops. And now two pawns are under attack, Danny, both e2 and b4. So
that sure is a fork. Not the most traditional use of the fork emote, but I'll do it anyway.
So now just queen takes e2. I don't see a problem with that. Queen e2, rook e1, queen to c4, and my queen escapes. Thank you.
Well, he's going to certainly take his time and figure it out.
Maybe he's concerned with some lines of like queen e2, rook fe1, queen c4, take, and like maybe knight e5 at some point. There's knight e5.
That's exactly what he's thinking.
So pawn takes b5, pawn takes b5, rook a1, maybe pawn c3 or something like that. You have to do something with this b7 pawn. It's clearly a threat right now. So pawn b5, pawn b5. I guess white has some pressure here. I still think black is fine, but white does have some pressure.
Probably enough that white shouldn't necessarily lose. And you want to notice that I think that Georg is one of the most self-reflective players mid-match too. He recognizes how things are going, and that doesn't always prevent you from stopping what's about to happen, as we saw last year versus Karyakin. But notice how much of an effort he made to be up on the clock in this one.
Yeah, he changed his opening.
Played much faster. He played a new line of the Catalan and played much faster. So John Urschel isn't giving up hope yet that his boy George will win this match.
Yeah, I got a text from John saying the French hatred is real. And he's not wrong.
Yeah, he feels bad because he does so many shows with Anna that he knows he has to answer for it later.
Yep. So what does black do now?
He's going to lose one of the pawns back. Faux show. Bishop hitting b7, knight hitting c4, everybody. And I don't, if you take e5 and move the
Wait.
knight.
So can I go rook a1, bishop e5, d e5, knight d7?
I thought you'd go for that. It's exactly what I thought you'd try to do. And I guess my point is that if I take and you take e5, is your extra pawn really that good? The c pawn? Seems doubtful, right?
He's going to do that, though.
He's going to, but I think that Georg may not be any worse in that endgame. I mean, that extra c pawn it's passed, I guess, so I have to be a little careful there. But it feels like a move like f4 could even come, get rid of the knight from guarding c4 at some point.
Yeah, so essentially my plan was go bishop e5, d e5, knight d7, f4.
He's going to go for it. Well, I was saying don't even go f4. I was suggesting just take b7.
So bishop e7, knight e5.
And then rook c1, and I'm going to play f4 and kick your knight out.
I have rook b8 there, I guess.
Rook b8, bishop c6.
Then I take your bishop on c6, and there's no way I ever lose that position.
Well, yeah, you get the rook to b4. Okay. Okay, so Georg agrees with you. Plays f4 first. Now he's going to get the pawn on c4.
So rook d8, rook takes c4, pawn b6, and my knight is cemented on the c5 square.
Yeah.
Also, rook d8, rook c4, rook d1 check, rook d2 check, stuff like that is also a possibility at some point. So yeah, just take c4, pawn b6, and I'm not saying black is better. I'm just don't think black is worse.
Yeah, I agree. I think the time obviously is a factor here, but if it becomes a comfortable position, you're right. Black can play b6, cement the knight. It's pretty easy to then make some quick moves, activating your king on the dark squares. The more I look at it, the more I sadly agree with you. I feel like it's the story of my life. Unwillingly agreeing with Robert.
Well, it does happen from time to time,
Yeah. I like the Cyborg references. People calling Georg a cyborg. He's doing something weird with his fingers right now. I feel like he's like sending signals to the aliens or something.
It's freaking me out.
He's doing something fun.
And of course, you're going to make some alien references, you and your Phoenix lights, referencing all these unexplained UFOs.
Hey, dude, I saw those Phoenix lights in person, and it was weird. It was long ago. Long ago.
Yeah, it was like 98.
I never told you that story?
No?
Yeah, dude, I was driving back from the Chess Emporium tournament in Phoenix, and I was right on the freeway. I had one of the best views, and it was bananas weird. I'm still convinced it was just some government thing, but I've never seen it happen like that. It was weird.
Yeah, it was bizarre from everything I know. Oh, wait, so rook takes c4, rook d1 is the idea? Leinier so tricky. I was going to say so Dominguez.
Leinier, you're so Dominguez. He is so Dominguez right now. He's so hot right now.
Where's Hansel?
Hansel.
Mugatu.
Georg. I don't understand what he's thinking about. Just take the pawn.
Jacobium Mugatu. Sorry, I'm getting into my Zoolander face.
It's natural. It happens to the best of us. Look at that. Really taking his time. Going to bring the king up, the bishop up, try to...
Rook d2 check. Hit the h-pawn.
Rook d2 check. If I play bishop e2, you have knight d4 and lights out. So if rook d2 check, I assume Georg wants... Maybe he'll just put the king back? Why didn't he go rook d2 check?
Maybe a little king e3 there and just
give up.
Like sack the h-pawn for the c-pawn because the c7 pawn is weak. And
yeah. Something tells me this is, I was going to say, this just looks like smoke and mirror. Just take c4. I feel like you could have taken earlier too, and now bishop e2, maybe h4. Dominguez is, he may have Perez'd himself here.
Did you say Perez himself?
I don't know. We said he pulled a Dominguez earlier. Maybe Perez is when he makes blunders.
I think that he's not worse.
What he is? We talk about the Frenchman with 3 names.
He's the Cuban with 3 names?
He's the Cuban with 3 names.
Yeah, that knight on c5 is so good.
Yep. Shout out to Chess Education, subscribing with the Twitch Prime sub. I just went in to use the fort emotes and saw that I'm not a subscriber to the Chess channel. So, shocking.
Nor am I.
You're not a subscriber?
Wait,
I have an excuse. I've been saying this all week on my show. Like, I had a debit card that I got stolen / lost. I lose my debit card all the time. It didn't get stolen. I'm just going to be honest. I left it at a gas station, okay? You want the truth? I left it at a gas station.
Wow.
But
sad.
I had to, like, cancel it. I've been having to renew who I subscribe to all week. So that's not a made-up story. This is not the first time I've told it. But, okay. Now I go back to chess. I got myself some fork. Some fork emotes, and everybody is happy. Boom. Bring in the fork spam.
How does white crack black's defenses? Maybe you have to go g4, g5 and hope that it works. But g4, I always go rook h3.
What if you just sit tight?
And rook h3, you have bishop f3, and my rook is kind of in trouble.
So maybe white just plays bishop f1 here?
Bishop f1. Then I go...
You know, if you go to b1, I go back to e2. Oh, he goes for it. We're going to find out if your rook h3 is something special.
I just want to stop you from playing g5, f6 check. But
yeah. Yep.
So you have
like
to
we're all in some sort of like trance here. Can you just feel how calm we are right now? I feel like we are normally...
I'm just like, I'm watching technical endings. You know?
I'm watching a technical endgame by two 2,700 grandmasters, and it's educational.
Well, yeah, Dominguez, you know, he's 2740 FIDE, and Georg is like 2650, and I'm just like, I feel like I'm trying to learn something, but I'm not in the mood to learn.
Right.
You know, one of those moments.
Shout out to Andy Lee for the sub. Really appreciate it. All the support. Thank you, everybody.
Look at this f6 move. Wait, look at the clock situation. Georg under 20 seconds. He had a huge lead on the clock. And now Dominguez is just trying to hold steady with his knight on c5. That knight on c5 is beautiful.
He had a huge lead. Now it's gone, but I think they're just going to tickle this one out.
Yeah, but it's a repetition officially after rook f2 check.
Sometimes you got to tickle one out. All right, game goes on.
3-minute chess. Yes, quicker time control.
Already. We are already. I'm telling you, we're just. This whole thing is just surprising. Look at that snatch coming through. Daryl, my boy Daryl, probably doesn't like that I'm calling him Daryl. With the $5 donation, bringing the prize fund to $16.25. All proceeds donated by fans today. Prizes that are split by all of our players. Regardless of who wins this match, we will have one more where they take on Yoon Ludwighammer, who already survived the first knockout against Eric Hansen. Crazy style.
Yoon. You know what month it is, Danny?
Huh. It's the month of Yoon.
Exactly.
Say what?
Say what?
The fact that it's just sometimes the poetic justice is like, right? Like Eric wanted to be the 1 seed because he felt like he had the best chance against Hammer. And Hammer took him down, right? And maybe this is I think the one person said it most bluntly, as Hikaru Nakamura can, said that Yoon Ludwighammer had 0 chance to win the knockout today. That was Hikaru's comment.
Wow, that's brutal.
In the last Komodo match. So
can you look at the time situation in this game right now?
I'm looking at it. If I'm gonna guess, Dominguez Perez might be playing from preparation here. Just a shot in the dark.
It's also only move 9, and if I also had a guess, and it's not really a guess, it's more of a suggestion, Georg should stop playing the French.
So, I'm gonna let you and Anna figure that one out. But I don't disagree.
It's frustrating. Yeah. So the month of Yoon, we got Boy Georg here. We need some nicknames for Hansen. I guess we have Hansel Hansen for Eric. And that leaves Dominguez. Yeah, Danny, did you see the chess.com/TV chat from Hydrosuit? Sup, Danny. I love you so much.
Oh, no, I missed it. Shout out, Hydrosuit. I did just see the comment by Diamond member Tip and Chimmy. He said, yeah, but Hikaru also said that he could catch anyone in the 1-1 time control, but Magnus beat him 7-1. So, Hey, it is possible for Hikaru to be wrong. Not going to disagree with that. But he also did predict the Armenia Eagles and exactly how they would win. That was impressive at the Pro Chess League finals.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
So Hikaru gets some credit as well. All right, but Meier is doing his best to work himself out of a much worse French position. I feel like every game in the French is what we're going. Meier once again doing his best not to lose a French.
Yeah. So let's see. If you go Queen D3, Bishop G5, HG5, Queen G5, there's Rook takes H7 at the end of that.
Yep.
That looks unpleasant.
Showing that line right now for the fans. Yep, or do.
Show it for the fans.
The problem is if you don't go for that, these knights are just about to get jiggy with it over here. I mean, H7 is already falling. And if you play G... Okay, he's going to go for it anyway because I was going to say, I don't know that you wanted to keep those knights on the board. There's also knight takes D5 here, partner, if you can meet queen takes G2.
That's what I was worried about, is queen takes G2.
Right. I thought maybe you could get lucky with something, but this is not a Daft Punk song. We're not playing that one to get lucky.
Oh, man. We've come too far, Danny.
We've come too far.
We've come too far.
Right.
Sorry.
Oh, it's all right. That's a different show. That's a different show.
I'm just didn't want to give up who we are, Danny. So why don't we raise the bar on our cups to the stars?
Let's
what do you think?
And maybe our knight on F4 will get lucky with some tactics. Although I have to give Georg credit here. I mean, we both were predicting a much more direct assault through the king side, although I still like white's chances because
look at the queen side.
I mean, I was going to say castles long is a bit of a desperate move, right, to get the king, away from immediate harm, but now the light squares are a few problems. Georg thinking his way out of this one, or going to try to. This king may have to put on his running shoes anyway, though, because here comes queen to b5. I like queen b5 better than queen a6 check.
Yeah, queen b5 is
slightly more subtle.
Queen takes f5 can't be too bad either.
Oh, good point. You can just trade and play against the weak pawns. That's probably what.
But I like queen b5 better. Just make queen b5 followed by knight d3 even. Just take on b4 at some point. Just crack open that king position. But
I thought you were going to say crack open a cold one. I literally thought you were about to say just crack open a cold one.
I'm kind of tempted to go do that myself.
Yeah. You and I are going to deserve a cold one after this one is through, but we got a long way to go, partner.
Oh yeah, and I have a basketball game tonight, so
You're playing basketball?
Yeah, first game of the season for I'm in the league.
Nice.
Yeah, friend.
Here it goes. Here goes the smashing.
Baby.
Knight takes. He's going to get 2 pawns for the exchange, along with the attack that comes with it.
Don't take it. If I'm Georg, I don't take it. I leave it.
Yeah, play check. I think you just play king f1. No, then there's queen c2, threatening queen d1 mate. Okay, queen e4 was a little irritating. If you play bishop e3, queen b1.
What's wrong with king d1?
You can play king d1, but actually you can't. Surprisingly, that's the safest square, right into the line of fire. Perhaps there was a knight takes d4 in some. No, there's no way black doesn't get mated if he moves.
No, but maybe there's some rook h8 g5 stuff because actually the black king is pretty safe over here.
Yeah,
and Dominguez has 10 seconds left. What's going on?
Suddenly this is like
rook a1.
This could be a victory for the French that nobody wants.
Yeah, but this is like an unearned victory.
Well, the French would say any victory is a victory given their
There was
history.
forced mate.
What?
B takes c3, b c3, queen h1 check, rook b2 check, queen e4 mate. They just missed a mate.
Okay, back me through that again because I was making jokes about the French.
After this mate. Yeah. wait a second.
Wait, I'm on the analysis board. Tell me. Oh,
man. Black just won.
What in the world?
Meier
winning one for the French.
Instead of rook somewhere, rook b7 or something, he could have went b takes c3, and he just was mating him around the board. But it doesn't matter.
Okay, well, he won anyway as black in the French. Is this where we...
But it's not because of the French. No, I'm not eating my words because it wasn't the opening that won him the game. It was a mistake by his opponent. The opening got him in trouble.
But what's shocking is how rook takes a5 really was not nearly as strong as it looked, right? If we bring up the analysis real quick, everybody, One thing that is instructive, and we've talked about this a lot, just especially in these rapid types of events that you and I commentate on, is just how well a knight guards the king, right? I mean, the knight guards all of the critical squares, and the king is typically very, very safe. And so rook takes a5 was honestly kind of overrated. Black played rook b8, and there really was no knockout for white at all.
Yep.
Shocking.
No, the knight's an amazing defender, which
Yep.
is why Dominguez tried to sacrifice in exchange for it.
Yep.
And is why Georg did not accept. Now, if you look at their video, Dominguez is like shrinking after every game.
Yeah. Meier is he's crouching tiger, hidden dragon, right? He's crouching. Now he's leaning.
but Dominguez is just like sinking.
Dominguez is pulling, we like to call it pulling a Fabiano, where I got him all set on camera, and then the moment the match started, he literally leaned back his chair and lowered his head 6 inches.
So we have a repeat of an opening we've seen before.
Yep.
Let's see. So black is eventually going to try to go h4, rook h8 kind of stuff. White is just hanging out in the center. Has no real problems to speak of. No weakness. Nope. Wait. Okay. B4. Take b4. I take c7. That's a good trade for white. So the question is, do I go? No, I don't do that. I was saying, do I go c6? But b5 is pretty quick.
Yeah, we already have the full minority attack, not to be confused with the full Monty. We've got, and the reason, everybody, is that this type of structure almost always favors white, because whenever you have a minority, by definition, you have an open file, and that means you have targets on it. So Meier is trying to use the queenside space advantage and the minority attack. Is Dominguez is he gonna pull a full Dominguez here? Sack the exchange with h4?
I don't think so. Not yet, at least.
Never go full Dominguez.
No, sometimes you got to go full Dominguez. Right now, he's going half Dominguez.
I don't even know where these references are going.
I have no idea.
But we're just, oh man, we are. This is, note to self: next year's knockout qualifier, maybe make it like a 2-day event. I don't know.
We're still here for like another 3 hours.
Right.
Okay, rook a8. So he was joking on the king side, but he's serious on the queen side, is what I just gathered.
Yep. He was like, "Oh, just kidding over here on the H file. Let me swing over here."
So knight e4 coming at some point?
Yeah. Black has done everything he needs to do to defend this. Normally a slightly worse structure, but just a draw, and Dominguez says, "I'm fine." This match is moving forward so quickly. I feel like Hansen and Hammer were in an epic time scramble with the increment prolonging the match like every game. Am I wrong about that, everybody who's been here the whole time? Like, seriously, right?
I'm not sure. But I think that a huge difference is that, and this is actually just a compliment to Dominguez more than anything, he's such a principled player that when he makes equality, he's not looking to like keep playing and whatever. He's like, this game is dead equal. I know it's equal. Let's just end the game here and make a draw. Whereas other players will play on and, either lose or win because of it. Yeah,
well, he plays just like he would in an over-the-board, Super GM tournament that he's played a lot of. Here, everybody, we bring up our stats for the first time. As you can see, we have got the match score progression, a little bit of back and forth currently, but Dominguez is actually, so I don't know who we consider the favorite. Right now I know, but we're in for a close match, and we'll keep you updated as it goes on. So Dominguez.
Yeah, right.
What?
What just happened on e6 though?
A blunder.
Wait, what? So king e7, knight. Wait, what? Knight g5.
I feel like
this looks speculative.
To the back cave. Bishop a6 was played. This was not exactly the same, but similar to the last game where Meier stole one in the French. But here, Dominguez, maybe he's so angry about that last one, he goes in for this sacrifice, whether it works or not.
It looks pretty brutal right now.
Yeah, I was going to say, but I like it. I mean, I don't think this is just, an emotional hangover. This is...
Wait a second. So bishop f6, bishop e7. What is it?
Yeah, but he's still got a number of pawns and compensation against the king in the center. I guess the biggest issue, though, is you can't castle. The truth is White's king may end up being the one in more... Okay, and he realizes that, so he brings the bishop back to trade it off.
So what does he have? 2 pawns and a rook for 2 minor pieces? Yeah, that looks pretty good, especially with the black king in the center.
Yeah.
White's king is fairly safe for the time being. A plan for White, if the bishops get traded, is to take on d3, queen d3, play g3, f4, and just stop e5 from coming ever, and just take up all the space in the position.
So this time you agreed with me.
I agreed with, yes, you. I really was trying to find someone else to agree with, but there was nobody available. So knight takes
I think White does have compensation.
Does knight takes d4 work somehow? No.
Ooh,
Maybe?
It does.
So
Nice find.
Pawn d4, queen d4, rook d1, rook f8. Then
and
bishop
Meier
d5.
scratching his face.
Wait a second. So let's see. I guess actually even after rook f8, use of queen e2, and bishop b5 check is a threat.
He has both bishop b4, queen b4. He's got a number of things to consider. But you're right. It looks like he's not getting nearly as much as we thought.
So is bishop b5 check just win material?
Shout out to our boy Bigfoot. Thanks for the sub, buddy. Hit that follow button. Hit the subscribe button right next to it.
That's game.
Wow.
Give me those pieces. I feel like I just played a game of I Spy because I saw some tactics and then they all happened.
You're like, do I spy? A knight takes d4? No, but I mean, White... Okay, Black found knight takes d4, but it wasn't enough. So, you're like that kid who played I Spy, but then we actually pressed you. Like, what do you actually see that's green? Turns out what you were seeing was blue. You ever do that? You ever play that game with your kids? Like, they're like, I spy something that is green, and you like literally look forever.
I mean, you just sound like you're playing with someone. You made it sound like someone's colorblind too.
Yeah, and then you're like, dude, that's not blue, that's green. And they're like, what? And you figure out at the end of the road trip that your buddy Daryl's colorblind.
Got it.
So, but that's what's going on with you. You saw tactics, knight takes d4, but
what's going on with this a pawn? Is it going to be stopped easily?
You mean, does he actually have enough menacing threats with that a pawn to justify 2 exchanges?
No, the answer is for sure no.
No, but it's a little irritating. The thing about bishops in these positions, okay, White should be winning, but the bishops are just really useful, right? They so effectively both prevent pass pawns from pushing and helping their own advance. So it's just, the point is it's not just a lights out. In fact, I would almost play rook b3 and just give up one of the exchanges on d3 if I could.
I like that.
Just to simplify out my technique, but okay. He may regret that he does. I mean, what's going to happen here? Like, who wins the race? What has he calculated? A3, H7.
Wait, what just... Okay, he's got rook A7 coming. But he, is making this closer than it should be.
Yeah, it feels that way. Rook A7. Okay, but now I guess White is officially overwhelming the black bishop, so he gets credit for calculating that accurately despite the risk of how it looked. The h-pawn and the rooks were too good for the bishops.
So what about that French?
So what about that French, right? It's gotten one victory, but that's the problem with the French. And again, I mean the opening and the people that play the opening, not the country or the race, all right? Here's the thing, everybody. The problem with people that play the French, again, they're a lot like I know this because, again, I'm an addict. I'm a dragon addict. They all only remember their wins. Like, they remember the one win they get out of 5 games and, neglect the fact that the 4 other games they lost were just absolutely horrific, right? Seriously. It takes a special type of person to keep going back to that well.
Yeah, it's definitely not for me, the French, that's for sure. And here's this line that I was talking about earlier where you play c6 as black.
Yep.
So you give up the light square bishop, play c6 to close down your enemy bishop, bring your knight to a6 to b4, put your bishop back on e7 at some point and say, I'm just going to be a turtle and you're not going to be able to defeat me.
Nerf hot cha-cha.
No what?
No, just a funny comment about eats croissant indignantly after my rant about the French.
Croissant.
Croissant. Anyway.
When's the first sacrifice going to happen? I guess last game there were some sacrifices, but it's sort of.
Here we go. I like this remaneuvering of the bishop.
Do you?
Yeah.
So I think black's also doing the same sort of thing. Rook h8 will come. Play f4 if you're white. Do it.
In terms of the total match score, we have a 1-game lead, which basically is one for against the French.
Yeah.
But there aren't many games left before we're already in the bullet portion. How many more 3-minute games we got here?
2. 2 more 3-minute games, and then we go off to the bullet. I'm definitely going to be late for my basketball game tonight. How dare you players were playing so long? How dare you? Okay, so we have an end game. Surprise, surprise. If you take with the knight on d2, b2 hangs. If you take with the queen on d2, I just play queen takes c5, and b7 doesn't hang because the knight on c4 is under attack. Although queen d2 and queen c5, knight d6 threatens both the b7 pawn and knight e8 check. So that's something that definitely is worth consideration. No, that looks pretty good. Some tactics in the air. Knight d6 is going to be annoying. I'm not sure precisely how to continue here. Yeah, I actually don't know how to defend b7 and knight e8 check. Knight e8 is a huge threat. And once you lose the pawn on b7, now clearly white has some decent winning chances. So king f8, okay, knight takes b7. And once the b7 pawn falls, I might threat is go queen d7, and then follow that up with knight d6 for more attack. I also am threatening if knight b7, the a5 pawn becomes very weak. So knight takes b7, okay, played. Queen c7, I like that move. Queen e2, also a good move. Now queen's going to b5. I mean, white's just up a pawn. So b3 can also be played by white. And then queen b5. White is up a pawn, happy to be up that pawn. Yeah, wow. I guess spoke too soon about this position. And Dominguez, he's gotten a little higher up on his camera, but at any moment he may submarine himself again. He's just kind of hanging there. Let's see. Queen e5. The thing about queen e5 is it attacks b2 and e4 at the same time, but if you take on b2, you lose the pawn on a5. So it's not really threatening to win a pawn. Yeah, so here, queen b2, bishop b2, knight takes a5, and that outside pass pawn is very dangerous. And he does it because he has knight d3 is an idea. Threatening knight e1 check. Similar to what white was threatening earlier in the game. Now black does the same. But still, bishop e2 over to b5, or bishop c6 to b5, doesn't matter which way. White is up a clear extra pawn.
Meier seems confident.
Oh, he's up a pawn. He should be confident. And a big issue is that the a pawn is a decoy. What's really going to happen is if the knights get traded, the king will have to run queenside for black, and then the f7, g6, h5, some bishop e8 will cut off the pawn. So knight c4 was possible here, trading the knights, then pushing the a pawn.
Yeah, it should be pretty straightforward now.
Yeah, a5, a6, A7. So A5, his idea is play knight C5. And if takes, you have to calculate king F3, king E7, king E4. Too much to calculate. Too much.
Oh, well, now he's just got the obscure bishops.
Right, but the thing is the outside pass pawn is going to require serious attention. So you're going to plant the bishop on B5 for the time being. Whoa. So king E2 here.
He's trying not to sit tight and defend. He wants to actively trade off pawns on the dark squares, which is it's the right idea.
If king D3, he'll go F4, for example. The reason why it's a good idea for black is because the bishop can take on F2 and still defend the A7 square. So you're offering a trade.
Yeah, we were just sort of highlighting the bishop's key ability to defend against passed pawns, target other things at the same time. So if you take and play king F6 and manage to get G5, this should be a pretty straightforward draw.
So
he's trying to prevent that.
Well, I don't know, because the problem...
Just checking back, yeah.
E4 here.
Okay,
the thing is, white's going to have
G5.
two disconnected passed pawns. So bishop takes H5. That doesn't work.
No, I think that's the problem, is you can't... I don't think you can win both these pawns so easily.
Oh, wait a second. That was a good move.
That's exactly how you win both those pawns easily. I was kidding. Although he does have bishop b8 check. Would he actually risk bishop b8 check and g4? No.
Bishop b8 check, yeah.
Only 10 seconds to figure it out, though.
That was really nice.
Yeah, that was really nice, the whole king g3 idea. Now he is going to get what you said, the position with two passers and split king. But there may be some sort of shielding technique, right? Everyone remembers, maybe they don't, but there are some pretty famous examples of drawing games like this where the king, all he has to do is just kind of follow on the dark squares. He doesn't have to do anything special. The bishop sits, and the king just sort of shields. If the king ever gets here threatening this, then you go to c5. We let him in. That was a huge blunder.
Oh, he's trying to say that the king goes to c6.
I didn't see that either. Now he still has it. So yeah, this is just like a shouldering method to be aware of, where you... And one of the ways you can do that in your own chess, so that you might actually have the chance of holding an endgame like this yourself with no time, is you want to quickly recognize where your king needs to be. If they ever touch here, I need to be here. If they ever touch here, I'm okay on either of these squares, right? And so you quickly recognize, without having to calculate 20 moves ahead, where your king needs to be, so that if you get close to that position, it's easier to kind of react and just make a quick king response.
Yeah, it's amazing how the king can shoulder the enemy king like this.
Yep. So now he almost gets in again, but black just knows that whenever the king gets here, he'll make sure his king is just shouldering out the key entry points. I can't even highlight squares faster than they're moving, but pretty good display of defensive technique here by Dominguez. It's over. Draw.
How many moves do they play? 1 million.
Yep. But okay, that's some good old-fashioned family fun, good old-school Russian advice as far as how to calculate that. I think I learned that calculation trick from Uncle Yermo. But yeah, that's sometimes you can actually quickly decide whether or not the endgame is even a draw just by recognizing that ahead. As long as you know you can reach those sort of like key squares, then you can make quicker decisions. But a guy like Dominguez just knows that it's a draw.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, at least now Georg's version of this French isn't the worst French possible, right? The classical French is one of the few Frenches that black can just be a little bit worse and grovel at least. He doesn't just get absolutely obliterated.
That's true. There's not like the same tactical motifs here, but it's still kind of a pain. You'd be facing two bishops. You don't really have winning chances. Black, you do have very decent chances to hold. I mean, you're very solid here.
Yep.
But yeah, he switched the Rubinstein to avoid any sort of repetition of previous games. So queen f1 here, or bishop Or queen f3 is better, of course. Bishop c4 maybe. Bishop b1 is also fine. Yeah, you have 2 bishops. Just use them.
Yep.
You can play bishop b3 back, be very safe. Nothing to worry about if you're white from a strategic standpoint. No weaknesses whatsoever. The only quote-unquote weakness would be some of your light squares on the king side, but your queen on f3 covers them well, and there's no enemy light square bishop. This kind of a5, a4 stuff is wishful thinking. The white bishop can just sneak back to c1 right now. And
that's kind of what he needs to do. I mean, I guess you could also play a tempi on bishop e3, but yeah, he goes for that. But yeah, as I said, at least this is a French where black gets to be slightly worse and grovel, right? And that's what black is in this position. White has the bishop pair, pressure where it matters, and there's no real structural weaknesses to speak of, no double pawns, no isolated pawns, so if you just simplify everything, black is fine, but white wants to find a way to keep pressure if he can.
Yeah, and bishop b6 can force
I was just going to say, should he go for this?
Well, bishop b6, queen b6, rook e5, a4 was kind of bothering me. And then maybe white should continue bishop c4, just keep pressure on the f7 square. That's a really annoying thing for black.
If you give b2, you might actually get it back on f7, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the f7 pawn is super important because your king safety. I wouldn't play bishop b6. I think I would keep that in mind for a later point. Doesn't seem like bishop g5 is played. And I guess h6 is met by like queen f5.
Oh, queen f5, interesting. You could even play bishop c1, though.
That's true.
Come back and then relocate. Now that you've induced h6,
you can also consider bishop takes h6, gh6, queen f5 with queen g6 check at some point.
Oh, let's show that on the analysis board. Takes. Queen f5. And Robert's idea, everybody, is that the f7 pawn is pinned.
Yeah, I don't think it quite works out. And maybe you can play rook e8 or something, but it's definitely worth consideration.
Well, now he may go right back to that same idea. Whether he missed it or not is irrelevant because he may have a second chance to play bishop takes h6. Yeah, Georg doesn't want any part of that and moves the king to f8.
So let's see. Bishop e3, threatening bishop c5 check maybe. Okay, h4, why not, right? h4, g4, g5, expand. Or h4, h5, and then g4, g5, something like that. Just clear expansion. Maybe Georg should play c5 or b5 or something. I mean, I'm a traditionalist in that sense. I'm a huge fan of the 2 bishops. I love them. They have there's open space. The bishop on b3 in particular does an extremely good job applying pressure on the f7 point, which it's not a clear weakness as of yet, but it's forever going to be a target. Black doesn't really have that many useful looking moves for the time being. You can't move your bishop from e5 because e5 hangs. So a move like bishop e3 threatening bishop c5 is probably good. Yeah. Looks very pleasant for white. Let's see. Took on a4. Typically not what you want to do, but he's trying to... Uh-oh. That queen just found its way to h8. I don't know how to compete with that. If you go knight f6, queen h8 check, knight g8, there's got to be some bishop c2. Yikes. Just bishop c2 to bishop h7. Queen h8 check, knight g8, bishop c2. And if you go it pains me so much to see that move. Just queen h7.
Barely holding.
Then f6 maybe? Okay, so bishop f4.
That was a good move.
Yeah.
Yeah. key, both an active way to defend the g5 threat, everybody, and offer further simplification with the rook trade, and that's what's going to happen. That was actually a really good move. That may save Black's game.
I think it did. So queen h4 here.
Queen takes f4.
Queen f4 and knight f6. Start getting some tempy moves.
Bishop f5.
Yeah, then knight d5. You just need that compensation in the form of kind of queen g5 is an option here as well.
Yeah, I was going to say I kind of like queen g5 and you're not worried about white running over here, everybody, to try to go after some pawns because there's just going to be too many tactics over here. So, okay, he goes for h5. Wow, inviting the check on h6. Probably willing to repeat if Dominguez also likes that.
I would highly consider repeating if I were Dominguez.
Yeah, he is down on time. Oh, okay, he's all in.
I like it.
Here we go.
Queen
you just
C5
said you
check.
wanted him to repeat.
I thought he should, but I kind of liked where his brain's at. I mean, he's been outplaying Meier, so.
Whatever you're into, Snatch. When we do our first stream together, I'll let you choose, or we'll let the fans choose whether you should be known by Pedro or Daryl.
Look at the clock situation. 4 seconds for Meier when he made that move.
Okay, well, we'll see if it pays off. Not
G6.
G6 is coming. He doesn't play it. Why not? He had his chance.
Oh, I like bishop e4, cutting off the f4. So watch out, his queen's hanging. If knight e3 check is coming.
Knight e3 check would have been a discovery on the queen. Everybody winning on the spot. Of course, they see it.
G6. There it is.
Finally. What's the tactic? He has f2 with check. That's the idea. And
okay,
he
but
still
now
gets
he has.
f2.
Whoa, king takes h4.
Yeah, but white might be the one that gets mated here.
Take on. Who's winning this endgame?
Who's winning the king and pawn? I was just going to say, what in the world is that about? Might just be a draw?
Yeah, it looks
fascinating
like
if it is a draw. Wait, did he just have king d4 and c4? He's winning. c4.
Oh, shoot. c4, take.
Oh, his a3. Sacks the a pawn. Oh, my gosh. That's your king and pawn endgame knowledge, everybody.
You scared me there. I was like, winning.
I was calculating the opposition that he had b3 as a tempo, but indeed he actually didn't, and the a-pawn sacrifice was a draw. Georg has taken a quick break, stepped away. He requested it. We have granted it. The next set of games, which will be Bullet, right? That was the last 3-minute game.
That was the last 3-minute game. I hope Dominguez knows he can.
Yeah, the next set of games will be Bullet. We'll be starting in about 30 seconds, everybody, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Okay, we're starting the Bullet portion. Also, a 1-game lead only for Dominguez Perez. So, we'll see if Georg's consistent approach in the French pays off. I meant that with the most amount of sarcastic, demeaning humor possible. Consistent approach in the French. Again, we're in for a close match, Robert. I feel like I just got my energy back. All of a sudden, I'm super excited again. It's a 1-game match. Bullet is on, and here we go.
Yeah, I just got my energy back too. I ran for some water very quickly, and I'm seeing this position for the millionth time.
Yeah.
So, are we watching the replay of this match, or is this a new game?
Yeah, no, it's live. I checked.
Okay, cool. So Dominguez rushing forward with the same exact plan he's used every single time to move 22.
Yep.
We've seen it before. Wait, what? Queen. Did he just blunder a piece? Yep. So that's a free piece for Black and a huge time advantage.
He's got more time than that which he started with. Not the best approach by Georg to go right back to the same line that just got him nothing.
Rook e3 check, game over.
Yeah, and then guard it with the other rook.
Yep.
The
rook e3, now rook e6, and then bishop takes g4. Just
it's over.
Give me everything.
So okay, Meier has to figure this out because he played this line. He played this line 3 times in the blitz portions. Everybody, if you want that quick recap, he won the first game, but not necessarily that impressively, and then didn't do well the other game. So if you commented, Robert, yourself that Georg went away from that variation of the Catalan precisely because it wasn't working, and I'm gonna guess that that's the last time we see it. if I had
Yeah,
to
and
guess.
it's actually what Hammer said against Hansen was that when you repeat the same openings, it allows you, in this case, Dominguez, with the black pieces to move very quickly.
Yeah.
And so repeating the same opening favors Dominguez with the black pieces because
Yep.
he just is moving instantly. Now, this definitely favors white. You've given up a pawn, but you have a clear initiative on the fact that the king – what is – okay, so I guess the point is you can't take a g5 because bishop takes e5, and then rook e1, and I'm not entirely sure what happens there, but it looks like black is holding on for dear life, and bishop g3 just makes a lot of sense. So it's played. But the point at large was that black's king is stuck in the center. Now knight c4, ideas of queen a3 check in a lot of variations. Yes, knight c4, if bishop g3, f takes g3 is just brutal. So he just plays h3. I really like knight c4 there. I don't know why that wasn't played. So here, queen f4 is a possibility, with the idea being to play bishop h4. He doesn't play it. He's just going for knight takes g4 now.
Yep.
Or not. What is going on here? So much craziness. Rook ae1 or rook fe1. I don't know if it mattered. Maybe rook fe1 to give. Oh, the king needs to run away, so it definitely does matter. But wait a second. King f1, bishop e5, rook e5, rook a1, rook h1 check takes on a1, so that's a problem. But knight c6 check, intermezzo, ouch. Wait, king e8 here? Oh boy. So many tactics. Now.
Yeah, what in the world?
Yeah, he went. I think he should went knight g6 check instead. Now knight g6 check. Do it. Knight g6. You have to do it.
He has it, and he is
Wait,
just.
What? Now bishop takes e5. Bishop e5, rook e5, rook h1 check takes the rook on a1.
Yeah, why didn't.
They're both missing it. White's definitely going to win this game now.
Yeah.
The tides have turned.
Meier had his chances there after knight g6 was missed.
Yeah, but now the king on f1 is actually surprisingly safe as it goes to e2. Run.
He might even
Queen
get all
h6.
the way out. Castle's queenside by hand.
That was amazing.
Yeah, seriously.
And the king is very safe now.
And Meier living off the increment quite literally. White is picking between ways to drive this one home now. Probably he'll just trade on c6. No. Bishop e7.
Flagged.
Not enough time.
Flagged.
Not a great position. Not enough time. He seems to have his chances. Potentially, as you said, to take e5, but that, again, felt like one where black was on his heels the whole time. Big surprise on the opening. Yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely – black had his chances there. He could have taken on e5. I'm not at all surprised by what's going on in this match. You know, I was the one who was backing Dominguez. I just think he's such an exceptional player. There's nothing against Georg. Someone pulled up the stats. He crushed me all the time here. There's no ego involved for me. Just I think that Dominguez, being the former World Blitz champion, being the 2740 currently rated player, formerly 2760, has played at the highest levels and continues to do so. He's going to play, as I mentioned, as the wild card at the St. Louis Rapid and Blitz of the Grand Chess Tour. So if that's not impressive enough, then you have problems and you need to, I don't know. What more could the guy do to impress you?
Yep.
But here,
I'm a little surprised. I guess I just felt like I thought Meier would be slightly more formidable, and I think partly the one thing I just really didn't see coming is how well prepared Dominguez would be against the Catalan, and honestly, Meier's stubborn commitment to the French also was not something that I could have condoned. If Georg had asked me before the match, hey Danny, what do you think if I play the French? You know what I would have said. Yep. Why are you asking me for advice, right? That just seems like your first problem. But no, but seriously, I mean, I think the opening stages have just drastically favored Dominguez Perez. You would agree with that?
I would totally agree with that. And I think that Meier has a way with BOLOGNA, but unfortunately his openings have proven to be a little bit of that. And so, yeah, it's not going well for him. Although this game he's about to pick up the C2 pawn.
Be a little bit better in the rook ending with that extra e-pawn, maybe not enough to win.
Yeah, and is he even going to get it? Yep, rook d4 is a good move. So he gets the pawn.
A pawn is a pawn.
I think actually in Bullet, the winning chances with an extra pawn are better than in Classical.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And that's why he's not afraid to simplify it, head to an endgame where he maintains just enough winning chances with the rook, despite the fact that in a classical setting this would almost be ready for a handshake, although everyone remembers Pekka Kasparov. So.
Yeah, you play on forever with the white pieces. You can never lose, but if those pawns get traded on the queen side, it's just a 4-on-3.
Yep.
And now a4, that is a king c3, rook b3 check, and you just bring the rook back to b4 now. You can't actually get to this. Yeah, he's going to have to go king b1, king a2, king a3. Actually, this is already problematic. Rook d4.
Very
Boom.
nice. Forcing either the king and pawn ending, which is easily lost for black, or just winning a second pawn.
I was trying to go g4. That was hilarious.
Yeah, that was the last stab, everybody. I'll bring it up on the analysis board there because it's instructive to note. Never give up, never surrender. He played the move g5, and if white had played any move that neglected it, black had one last trick, which was the move g4, sacrificing to make a breakthrough. So never turn your back on tactics, but this is an easy win now. We expect Dominguez Perez to resign. He does. And the match is a little bit closer now with 2 games to go. So, okay, it's Bullet. Anything can happen. I know that you've got your money on the Cuban horse here. I initially picked Meier, but again, here comes another French.
Chess Bay with a hilarious comment. Should we get him a snorkel? Because look how low Dominguez is getting on the camera.
Seriously, right?
Wait,
I'm gonna tell him. I'm gonna tell him heading into the. There's literally nothing we can do. Like he's actually getting off of his own camera. Like he's leaning so low at his desk. We can't reframe him into our production here. So
he's wearing those apple bottom jeans, right?
Yep. The boots with the spurs.
Yep. Got the whole world looking at him. This position seems a little familiar. Once again, I really don't like knight takes e6. Because every time, queen g6 check, if king e7, knight g5 comes. If king d8, he's just going to take on e6 and say, I'm getting at least 2 pawns. Okay, now knight g5.
Knight g5. Oh, he takes on b4 first, which is smart because the a-pawn is pinned.
Wait, but what happened after knight g5? You're threatening queen f7 check. Oh, is there knight d8 there? Wow, that's...
Yeah, but that's why I'm saying he takes here, because if the knight takes on b4, then knight g5 is stronger. Ooh, he doesn't go for it.
He'll go knight g5 next. He's waiting for the...
No, but now black is getting out.
Yeah, I don't like what just happened.
I mean... It's still just... I mean, how hard is it to play this position as black with only 20 seconds on the clock,
Queen takes d3 was possible there, taking on a5. Queen takes e6. I mean, this is just... Look at your king. Queen... I was at to blunder my queen with queen a6. In typical Robert Hess Bullet fashion, queen a6 was going to be suggested.
I'm glad you said it so I didn't have to.
Take on g7 now.
Yep. h6 falls.
Play e6 and knight e5. Or at h6.
H6 also opens up bishop g5. That's what's nice about it.
This is desperation by Georg, and he's just in a terrible position. Queen g8 check.
Followed by taking on f8 and queen g5 or bishop g5. Okay.
Play h5 here. Oh, then knight d3. So I spoke too soon.
Got to be a little careful. This is a nice move because it opens up the idea of heading to the queen side, everybody. b6 check is now a threat.
Yeah.
Of course, there's other threats possible, but queen b6 check, I think, is going to be good enough to bring the pain. Oh, very nice. Queen e6 followed by rook c8. That's how you do it. So, back to the French. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to sound like the broken drum that I already am.
You know what's hilarious, Danny? I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but I thought of something very funny.
What?
So his name is Dominguez's name is Sebastian, and he's literally looks like he's under the sea. So I thought of the Little Mermaid.
Yep.
And so someone has to play Under the Sea for him right now.
Yeah, seriously.
Under the sea.
Yeah, where's he going? We're not going to let him do that if he indeed does end up moving on to play Hammer. Right now, he's 2 games away from doing so, everybody. It's really a race to 10.5, given that the format is set through these 3 time controls to be a total of 20 games. So he is He's getting closer. Meier is officially in the must-win territory here. And we'll talk to Leinier about this if and when he starts his own Twitch channel. We actually talked to him about that before the match started today. So for those of you who are big fans of the Cuban chess player with 3 names, look for a Twitch channel coming your way from Leinier Dominguez Perez sometime soon.
I love some of these comments. They're just too funny. Someone says maybe Leinier's lips are chapped and he wants to hide them. That was FT. I can't read the FT029. That's amazing. Oh man. All right, back to the chess. So
he's on the grind, man. He's on the grind.
Wait a sec. What's going on here? Opposite color bishops. White's up a pawn, but the b3 pawn is hanging now.
Yeah, now rook f2 check is coming, which is boy. You can't even play rook d2 because bishop b4 wins the rook.
Wait, why didn't he take on g2 first? What's going on here?
Yeah, I thought he should have. He's maintaining the dark square pressure, though.
He should have taken on b2 because bishop f2 was checkmate was threatened, but this works too.
Takes g3.
Give me all your pawns. Rook takes b2 is a threat. Rook h5, rook h3 check. Take on b3 is going to be a threat. h5. Nice
h5,
move.
and here comes threats of mate.
Yeah, just rook b3 coming.
Do you save the h pawn first? No. Forget the h pawn. Probably white could hold a draw here.
Yeah.
With best play.
Well, now rook f2 takes f4. Okay, or that.
Again, we see a lot of dark square bishop action. But again, here I think that I would be surprised if Meier can't get some sort of real... That's a very nice move. Bishop a2 coming into d5, everybody.
Yeah, that's classy.
Stay classy, Georg Meier.
Yeah, now rook c7 at any moment is going to be good. Okay, so rook c7 now is going to be annoying. Okay, didn't play it again.
Yipper doodle.
So what? Play rook b7. Just hold.
Holding b6, holding f7. Should be a draw, but okay, very limited time. Georg
Wow, Dominguez has been really speedy.
Yeah. And again, in addition to my sort of just not real recognizing the potential advantage that Dominguez would have in the first stage of the game, just doing so well in every opening we've seen today. He's also just been faster in bullet. I admit I haven't seen Dominguez play as much bullet as maybe I should have. So.
It's okay. I can just continue repping him.
Yeah. No, you're doing great.
Yeah, this is not going to be losing for either side. Well, although Meier's 3 seconds
With
left,
only a few seconds, I wouldn't be surprised if white finds a way to lose this right now.
Uh-oh, b6. That pawn's going far. What? He took it?
Not far enough.
Why did he do that?
Why did he do that?
I think he forgot the f5 pawn wasn't falling.
Yeah, I think he just straight up thought he was getting the 2 pawns. But now, this is exactly the kind of position you can play easily with increments. So we're gonna have this one remain a match here because Meier's gonna win this position as white.
Yeah, that was super unnecessary.
Yep, even just trade. Put the black king in zugzwang. It's only a matter of time.
Yeah, it's funny if that position happened with the king on d3, bishop e4, king f4, and his white's move is a draw.
Yep, that would have been.
So wait a second. There's like some weird, almost drawing chances, but not king e6. Game over. Take on e4. Take on f6.
Okay. Well. Leinier shakes his head there. He's like, "Yeah, that was dumb. Let that one get away from me."
And now it's gonna be another French.
Another day, another dollar. Every day I be French shuffling.
Yeah, this is not good though. You can't spend like 8 seconds on move 7. Wait, what was knight g5? So he's going for more sacrifices. This is Dominguez's specialty.
Yeah, no, he's just like he is just playing the he's playing the bleep out of these positions.
Yeah.
I mean, with like no time on the clock, getting just dominant attacks super quickly. I'm going to study these games afterwards so I can take my abusive French play to the next level.
So he just invited the move c4 and then took on f3.
That's part of the idea for black. Again, I know it blows the mind of people like you who value the bishop pair, but that's actually part of the idea here.
Hydra Suit says, "Hi, Danny," and then says, "Hi, Robert," with a heart. So I get the heart. Ha ha.
I'm not
And then
surprised.
Someone
love
said
you
that
more.
you should
What?
you should be forced to only play the French.
Me?
Yeah.
That would definitely be a purgatory for me, if hell exists. Forced to play bad French positions for all eternity.
Yeah, that sounds really terrible. Sort of is making me sweat just thinking about it. I mean, I'm a way bigger French hater than you are.
Really?
I think so. I'm so anti-French.
Wow.
Yeah, I've gotten in arguments with people about this. I think it's ruined friendships.
Tip and Chimmy, Diamond member, Chess TV Chat, says Danny versus Trent, French defense only death match.
Oh, sounds like that would make me cry.
Yeah.
You know what I do love though, Danny?
What's up?
2 bishops.
You do. You've always have.
And look what's going on in this game. Although a4 is now kind of a threat.
Yeah,
so
a4 is an actual real threat for black to undermine the protection of the c pawn. So.
And a3 was just hanging. I like what Georg has done here, though. He's played extremely quickly and extremely well when he needs to get some wins here, and all he's doing is playing well.
In all fairness, I feel like we're talking about this match like it's almost over. I mean, it's not over yet. I mean, we just did see Hammer win 2 games down 10-8. So, let's.
Yeah. A4 was a really bad move, though.
Yeah.
Now Rook B1. Wait, what? What's that? Oh, going for the F7 square, always a weakness. So the knight still can't move.
I just wanted to check out the stats there. We get an up-close view of Robert Hess, so we're going to go back to the other view.
Yeah, don't get an up-close for me. I'm like trying to zoom in here and focus on the chess, and now you're taking images of me here.
Always.
Oh,
we missed the mate on E8. Oh, man. That's a painful way. In fairness, the French has won a game in this match it didn't deserve. I don't think that loss was necessarily because of the French, but the blunder on E8. But okay, right? You play with the bull, you get the fire, or something like that, right? Fire, you get burned. Bull, you get the horns. You get it.
Is JJ Chess 2018 JJ like Jamil John Ali Marandi?
Actually, the owner of Jimmy John's.
What?
Yeah, Jimmy John's sandwiches.
I know, but is it who I was calling it? GM Ali Marandi, my buddy.
I think so. Yeah, I think it's GM Ali.
Okay, because he just challenged us to a deathmatch where he plays black every game, and
Really?
he's a French player. So,
And he plays the French.
well, that's why he wants that deathmatch. Wait, what's going on here? Take on B7? No, let's just take on C3.
B7.
Take on C3. Look at that backward C pawn. I guess it doesn't really matter.
I like that exchange sack though. I love that exchange. Meier just didn't really want that, but he's going to have to just take the exchange right back, or will he? I think you got to.
Look at that spatial advantage.
Yeah, but I was going to say, if you take on C8, eventually you have to deal with A5 and the undermining of the bishop on the dark squares. So taking A6 and keeping the exchange sack alive is maybe better, yeah. And now he goes for this. I like the way Meier's played this.
Yeah, I was thinking at some point you play Rook D8 and go F6, but...
Well, if you're just joining us, don't go anywhere because the finals of our first ever Speed Chess Championship knockout qualifier is coming up right after this. Yoon Ludwig Hammer has already defeated the one and only Eric Hansen, so not Chess Brawl Strong today, but it was an epic match. If you missed it, you got to check it out later. So we're going to have Hammer versus what looks like to be Dominguez Perez right after we interview these players when the match is over. If you're one of the roughly 1,900 that has like been here the entire day, love. Don't the cool kids just say like one word like love? Likes. Like what do they do these days?
Say one love.
One love. One life.
Wait, Georg is about to play H4, H5, G6, and it's going to be hard to stop.
He's going to win
Rook
with this
B7
exchange
here.
stack, I'm telling you.
He should have went rook b7 to play bishop d6. But he's just going for this pawn push here. Where does the king go? If you go king h8, I have h6. So play bishop c4.
This has been a really nice game and a match that has been tough for Meier, especially as we've headed into the faster time controls. For those of you just joining, you could see it was only a 1-game lead after 5 minutes, tied after 3 minutes, but the bullet is what's going Dominguez Perez's way. But
It looks like he's going to hold the draw here.
yeah, if Black holds a draw, he gets half a game closer to clinching the match. So Georg wishes there was a way to swindle a victory here, but I don't think there's going to be. And I can confirm that it seems like Yoon Ludwig Hammer did indeed get his shower in, as he predicted he would go take a shower. And he seems to be refreshed. He's got that boyish, fun-loving, boo-boo bear look back on his face.
Are we talking about Yoon
Ludwig, who we can see, but the fans can't. I'm not sure if Yoon Ludwig is listening to our commentary or not. I would guess he is, so he can hold it against us later.
Yeah, he shouldn't be, but he probably is. Or as I like to call him, J Hammer.
Let's not talk about that.
So the king went to f5, where it has no scope. What the rook somehow needs to do is transport itself to h8. If the white rook were on h8, then we're talking.
Then we got problems.
Yeah, maybe you... I can't even think of a suggestion.
Dominguez is just sliding back and forth. There's just nothing here. Okay, now there's a trick.
Yeah, he was trying to rook f5 check.
He can still... Oh, I thought he would still do it on king e8, then play bishop e5, but no, it doesn't.
That was better.
Seem to do enough.
Where's
he going? Where's he going with that king?
The wrong way.
He's going to b8. Twist ending, black somehow wins this game.
That'd be crazy. At some point, f5, f6, f7 is checkmate.
That's true. Time to almost do it? No. The problem is that the moment you play f5, the bishop loses its protection and the rook just comes back.
Right, but he should have put his king on c6. How many times has this position been played?
I don't know. Apparently not enough, though.
So king c6, now play f5. Do it. Oh.
F5, I agree. F5, F5, F5,
You also have to move a pawn at some point.
At some point, you got F5 was there, bro.
Oh, bishop d6. Bishop d6 was check.
Bishop d6 with check. King back. He could have pinned it on the 8th rank. No, he could have taken it. Oh, if he takes h7, it's a draw anyway. F5, yeah. F5, F5, F5. You have,
we're both like just cheering for f5.
You have no other option at this point.
There
we go. Finally, F5, F6.
Now king d5 to e6. I think he's winning. King d5, game over.
Phenomenal. Arugula.
Rook a8. Okay, doesn't matter the move order.
Doesn't matter. White's breaking through.
Oh my gosh.
Look at stalemate trick. If he takes f8, rook to f6 check. And he goes for it.
Wait, can he not get out? Oh, rook, bishop takes d6 now.
Bishop takes and it's out. Wait, Meier doesn't realize it. Take with the bishop. Oh my gosh, he just like hit himself on the head. I don't know what he was. I think he thought for a second he had blown it.
Yeah, he smacked his own head. That was amazing.
Okay, well, he figures his way out of that stalemate trap. That was pretty epic, though.
Yeah. That was hilarious, just smacking it. And then Dominguez got lower on the screen.
Yeah. Dominguez just continues to sink. Maybe there's somebody like pulling his head down, just slowly but surely.
Didn't he say he's got a son named Sebastian? Maybe Sebastian's grabbing his feet.
Yeah, Sebastian's like, grabbing his face. And either that or he's like going to town on something down there. He's eating something and he just doesn't want us to see his mouth.
Oh, man.
Well, honestly, that was a huge win for Meier. I mean, the match isn't over again. I mean, we were up against the wall. We're still, one victory away, and if you keep playing the French, math is, you're going to lose a game. But we did just see an epic comeback by Hammer. So I want us to get our focus on here because it's not over till it's over.
It's definitely not over. But if I'm white here, at what point do I play rook h2, rook h1, rook takes h7?
The moment you just are ready.
No, but then you go g6. So I have to.
Yeah,
I'm not,
actually, Meier broke through first.
wait, knight takes d4.
D4 is falling. What is he
Wait, Meier's
doing?
winning.
Leinier just shakes his head.
Meier's winning.
Are we about to see another epic comeback? Like I've been like sort of sleepwalking through the last 4 games of this match, assuming it's only a matter of time.
Yeah, I'm getting kind of pumped right now.
Yeah, all of a sudden you can feel it, right? I can feel it coming.
Queen a7 traps the knight. Okay.
Ooh, look at that nice little sack.
But I don't think you're in time. Rook h4, you just take it, and the queen also is under attack on c2.
Everybody in every chat who just joins the show like thinks like that it's like some sort of like affliction. They're like, why is Dominguez's head so low? like what's wrong with him?
Tommy Shelby goes, he's playing on a waterbed, slowly leaking. Wait, queen h6, queen f6, queen h7, check, king f8, game over.
Yeah, he's out. And we have a match, everybody. Meier gets the white pieces.
And he's only down 1 point.
And he's only down 1 point. What?
Oh, boy.
This has just been a crazy, crazy entertaining day.
Yeah.
It makes me think that whatever's going to happen again this last match of the day between Hammer and whoever it is could get sassy, could get nasty.
Rook b1 at some point.
Okay, this is just, again, I don't know that Sebastian knows. You don't get any, there are no, extra effort points here, right? This isn't T-ball. I don't know what he's hoping for. You just resign. Save your energy.
C1. Queen d5 check. Game over. This is super over.
It's over. Red rover.
Is he going to go rook? Nope.
We have one more game. I'm very excited.
Game over. Rook b5. Resigns. Rook d1 check, foe c1. So now we have a 1 point game. Meier with the white pieces. And this is, wow, 1 point. And it looked like it was just completely crushing. I mean, Dominguez was up 8.5, 5.5, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. Crazy stuff.
So they've changed it up in this one. Georg is trying to reroute the knight into the d3 square. So many endings.
Too many endgames, one might argue.
Yeah, and so here we have this ending where the bishop on d4 is pretty beautifully placed.
But again, he goes back to that original Catalan that he played that hasn't worked out very well against Leinier today, and kind of a interesting decision to go back to that with literally all the chips on the line. Although I guess they've been on the line for 2 games. Meier has already been playing in a must-win chess for a while now.
Yep. So he's going after the b2 pawn. With rook a4, you can't take b2 because rook a2 wins that bishop. So now all of a sudden, black's a little bit uncomfortable here. Because now rook b4, you have to go rook c7 back. And now it was like e4 or king e4 even. Just continue gaining space. g4 makes sense as well. h3, what? That's a little passive. Bishop d8. Play bishop d8. Yep.
Yeah. Black is holding on. And there's that.
So king d7 is... So okay, e5 is helpful because now the knight can't go to e5. So king d7 to c8 doesn't run into any knight e5 check stuff. Here, king c8 loses the pawn e6. So now b4 here is an option. Rook d6 check also, as he played. King e7 now b4, because b4 gives you the c5 square for your knight. Otherwise, for b4, there's rook c3 that followed by bishop c7. You have to be careful. Take e6, fe6, knight f4 wins. Doesn't quite win the e6 pawn.
Yeah, but now b4 supports c5. There may be other ways to go target the e6 square.
Yeah, but now rook c3. I like rook c3 because the idea is to play bishop c7 to kick this rook out.
I love that idea.
So rook c3, king e4, bishop c7. He goes rook d7, but now take d7, take, and knight c5 check wins a pawn.
Yep.
E6 and d7
Straight
are
up.
both.
Maybe he calculated this and
wants to go bishop, knight e6, bishop e7, and can take over the queenside pawn.
Who wins this endgame? The bishop is certainly better than the knight if it comes down to a race, but
knight f5, king d5 is an important move.
Aha. So he's going to play h4. He's going to try to use the fact that the diagonal's blocked with g5 and h5, but is there enough time?
King f4 was a good move. King f4, bishop b2, then e6. The point is you couldn't take the knight on g7 because e7.
Yeah, and he should have gone for that because then his king could have been on f5 shouldering him.
Yeah, now look at this. You take all these pawns.
But the bishop is just so much better than the knight in this position.
Yeah, just play a5, a4, etc.
Yep. Meier will be lucky to draw. Gosh, it feels like he had something there.
Yeah,
as white. I mean, he will draw, and again, the match is not over. We've been in this must-win scenario before earlier today. Oh, he blunders. Okay, no, he doesn't. It's just a draw. All right. Whoa.
You scared me. I was like, did I just miss something?
I got a little nervous, but what matters is that there's one more game, one more opportunity for the French to redeem itself. It all comes down to this. Last game of the year, Robert. Don't hold anything back now.
I won't.
Crazy stuff.
So we have another one of these weird Frenches.
Yeah, I'm being told by our engine-loving sidekick here that g5 was winning for white, and he missed it in the endgame.
g5 instead
the line I said, he played h4 to try to meet king d5 with g5 and then just rush the h-pawn. That idea was winning, and he didn't go for it.
Yep. Wait, so look at another sacrifice. Wait, white's not down a piece here? I just looked away from the board and looked back, and I thought white was down a piece because the king's on f7. White's not even down a piece, and the king is in danger.
Yeah.
Okay, I give up on this front. Bishop takes h7 as a free pawn. Queen e6 check.
Meier scratching his head. Just, again, live by the French, die by the French. Most of the time you die.
Yeah, it's already...
That's the motto.
It's a resignable position. There's no checkmate threats for black.
He's laughing and shaking his head.
Yeah, he doesn't look very happy. I feel bad now.
Well, too bad there. We see that last one definitely one that was an unfortunate sign for some of the tough times that Georg had in the French today. But okay, now we have both players with us. Mr. Meier, Mr. Dominguez Perez, first of all, thank you for an awesome match. Wasn't quite the crazy finish we had to the last match, but still super exciting. And Georg, those last few games there, you looked like you were about to mount an epic comeback. You were getting pretty excited. George? We can hear you, buddy. I guess he can't hear us, so he doesn't know we can hear him.
No, I can hear you guys. It's an issue with the sound.
There you are. Well, it was a super close match, and it looked like you were mounting a comeback there. Obviously, that last one was over quicker than you would have wanted. But what were your thoughts on the day? It felt like that Dominguez Perez just got better positions out of the opening most of the time.
Yeah, basically after my first black game, I had to play the rest of the match without opening because I had forgotten that Leinier used to play this in bullet against me, and I never really looked at it. And of course, it's very dangerous when you're not prepared for this at all. And given that I had no opening, I was happy with -1 after the blitz. Then, of course, to lose the first bullet game with the stupid blunder in a position we played for the third time that somehow foreshadowed the end. And you're right, I was about to make a comeback, but my last white game, I mean, if I that I had to win, kind of. But
Yeah.
of course, every game is tough.
Well, Leinier, were you prepared for this match specifically? Did you anticipate the openings you might get against Georg? Because again, from the outside looking in, it just seemed like you were playing faster in the first stage. You were consistently reaching good positions with both colors, and it made us wonder if you were specifically ready for the type of positions you wanted to play against Meier.
Well, I didn't do a specific preparation, but of course, once I knew that I would play against Georg, then I immediately started thinking about the possibilities in the opening. And of course, we play so much online that we both have experience, and we know more or less the openings. And I thought it's a good idea to go for this 95, and actually it was very important to force Georg out of his main line. I mean, where he feels very confident, and then I was able to create problems with White in general.
Right, Robert.
Yeah, were you happy to see the French defense played so much? Because it seemed like every game you were either sacrificing a piece or just getting a sort of dominating position and much more space. Is that an opening that you and particularly enjoy playing against with the white pieces?
Well, this line, I thought it's very interesting. At least we get positions with almost all pieces on the board, and White has some nice attacking chances, which I thought could work quite well in fast time controls. I thought it's easier always to play with White, but of course it's a normal position, but it quite worked for me.
I don't have many more questions either. Obviously, we were. To me, I felt like this match was a toss-up, and as it went on, it felt like Dominguez Perez was a little more prepared. Georg, do you feel like maybe just the opening choices would have to be rethought in a match like this, or did you just not have the foresight or the time to think about that ahead of time?
Yeah, like I said, I was caught off guard, and it's my main opening, and if I cannot play it, it's very unpleasant in Blitz especially, since I cannot just play something that I'm absolutely not familiar with, then I will start to think, and it's not really an option. But as I said, I was happy that I got out of the Blitz with -1.
Right.
I even managed to win one of these extremely bad French positions in the Blitz.
Right.
Full
disclosure, I picked you to win this match. Nothing against you, Leinier. Love you. Now you won, obviously, so it doesn't matter. So I guess but who did you see as the favorite coming in? I mean, did you feel that you would have better chances out of the opening, or again that you just couldn't quite change it up mid-match?
For me, what?
I was asking Georg.
Sorry.
Sorry, that wasn't a well-asked question.
So I was just thinking about Leinier in my mind. I mean, Leinier is the better chess player, so I can never consider myself a favorite when we play chess. Yeah, when we play 1-0, then it's not chess, but 1-1 is still chess. But the thing is, what makes me a dangerous opponent in fast time controls is that when I'm in good shape, I can defend very tenaciously. And in some games, I think we saw that some positions that were almost resignable, I somehow managed to hang on and even cause some problems for White. If I had done this a little more often, then of course I could also have won the match, because I mean, in the bullet, the very small things can decide everything.
Got it. Well, obviously we have one more match to get to today, so at this point we will let you get a nightcap, Georg, and maybe hit the pillow here. Leinier, we're going to start the next match pretty much as soon as we can, as we get things set here for you and Ludwig to get going. But I want to thank you both again. Super exciting match, Georg. Nice mounting, almost a comeback there in the end. Sorry today wasn't your best day, but we're definitely going to be doing this again. So your fans will look for you at the next Arena Kings, dominating come, I guess, tomorrow. So, and Leinier, we'll see you in just a few minutes.